Natural supplements and functional foods, legal developments, ingredient news, education, inspiration, entertainment, insider in the afternoon.
Hey everybody, Todd Runstead here at Informa. Welcome to another edition of Insider in the Afternoon on this Wednesday. It's an exciting new world out here. Captain Kirk is back in outer space, and I think we're all a little happy about that. And SupplySide West happening in Vegas. Woohoo! I know, I am very excited about that. We talked a little bit about it last week. We're going to talk a little bit about it this week. And so to that end, we've got two very much insiders, Sandy Almandarez and Jon Beninger. Kids, how are we? What's going on?
Doing great. Looking forward to the show. It's been too long.
Right?
Todd, hi, John.
Hey, Sandy.
I know. Don't you guys have like offices next to each other, in before times anyway, or something close around?
Yeah, and we live pretty close to each other too. I could just hop right over to John's house in like 5 minutes.
And we're constantly on either Zoom or Teams, so
True.
So this is an interesting point. It's been, I don't know, 2 years or a year and a half, something like that, since the pandemonium. And so we've done quite a bit to bring SupplySide to your screens, to our screens, right? John, you've really been big on that. You've been giving like one-on-one tutorials with companies all the time. Before we talk about the live event, talk about the virtual event that is happening. It's happening every day, right?
Yeah, it's always on, just like reality, when the pandemic hit and shut everything down and just went through events like a wave, right? We all remember that. Started with Natural Products Expo West and then just took everything out. Not just our events, everybody's events and business travel and all that. We reached out to a lot of people in the industry to find out what the biggest disruptions they were dealing with were. And from that, we built this thing that's called SupplySide Network 365. If you go to SupplySide365.com, you can learn about it and sign up. But it's free right now. We've had over 8,000 industry members join.
Wow.
We've held more than 80 live events on the platform since we launched almost 12 months ago.
Wow.
And it's the app for the show. It's the app. So you can see who the exhibitors are, set up meetings with them. You can even see who's attending. People always ask, hey, who's going to be at the show? For the first time ever, you can see it. You can go into SupplySide Network 365 and see literally everyone who's registered to attend and reach out to them in advance if you want.
That's really cool because, I get sort of, I don't know if it's a bot or spam calls or, emails, hey, do you want the list of exhibitors for the show? And I just delete it, but to have that in advance on the screen, that's pretty cool, right? I mean,
we've never done it before. As an event organizer, we've been doing this a very long time. And that's the question everybody asks, hey, can I get the list? And the answer has always been no, we don't give out the list. In this case, and of course, we have to mind people's privacy. So they have to opt into this and agree to the terms and all that. So there may be people attending in Las Vegas that you don't see because, we can't do that unless they allow us to. But a lot of them are there. And so people are already using SupplySide Network 365 right now to network in advance of the show, to reach out to other people who are going to be there, both attendees and exhibitors and speakers, everyone. And it's pretty exciting as a show organizer, in this age of transparency and digitization. I think it's the right thing to do. Now people want to ask, hey, how good is the show going to be? Well, go look for yourself. Here's everybody who's going to be there.
I love that. And wasn't it in the development of the SupplySide 365, there was a lot of surveys of the businesses of our colleagues of the community. And did I hear right that the two things that people said they most wanted, that they most got out of trade shows is one is discovery, right? Of like new ingredients, new, whatever you needed. And then two is networking, that sort of people connection.
Those are the two big things we heard. We did surveys and we also had one-on-one conversations, more than 50 of them with people at contract manufacturing companies, consumer brands, food, beverage supplement companies, R&D people, CEOs, purchasing people, all of that before we built this. And that's what we heard over and over. Discovery, that could mean discovering a new potential supplier, discovering an emerging market trend or consumer trend or product development opportunity, discovering a new ingredient or technology for a product you already have. And then the networking part, it's just, we've all been on Zoom and Teams and all that. And it's wonderful that we have this technology. I can't imagine if the pandemic hit back in the 80s or the 90s, we'd all be having like group fax meetings or something. I'm not sure what we'd be doing. But so the technology is great, but it's that serendipity. The stuff that happens at a show where you're walking down the aisle and you meet somebody you didn't know before, or you're in a conversation with somebody and somebody joins the conversation, you get to introduce two people. And so those interactions have been so hard to replace. And so that's where things like this people section of 365, it's not a direct substitute. We still need the events. People are craving the events. But it's not too bad. The fact that you can reach out and connect with people throughout the year.
Yeah, and I was at Natural Products Expo East just a couple of weeks ago, and it seemed as not a disparaging word was heard. Everybody was just very much fine, and then it seemed to me that it was as efficient as a German train station. It's like people were just like, oh yeah, you go in, you put the mask on, it's fine. You go outside, oh, it's fine. Hey, let's go grab a beer at an outdoor restaurant, and it's fine. And so it seems to me that people get it now. Like we get Zoom, we understand what's happening here on the screen, and then we get how to behave in public kind of responsibly. So I mean, here's the question is, for someone who hasn't been to a show before, what do you say to someone who is freaking out? Am I gonna be safe? Is it gonna get me? What have you guys done to help? Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like a Sweet Polly purebred on the tracks or anything like that. But what are we doing to make people feel safe and secure? Talk about the protocols.
Sure. Yeah. So we first off, we have a thing called All Secure, Informa All Secure. And this is not just for SupplySide, our company, one of the largest event producers in the world. We joined with all the other event producers, Reed and all the others, plus the venues, the convention centers, the visitors authorities, and the health agencies at various levels. And we put together really a playbook, a guidebook for how to put on a safe event. And this is being used across the entire event industry, but we were part of putting that together. It includes everything from enhanced cleaning and sanitation, hygiene, hand sanitizer stations, the masking situation, all kinds of things. And there's a lot of detail on the SupplySide website, but here's the deal. Nothing is 100% safe. I mean, ask James T. Kirk, he just got back from outer space again, and he made it.
He made it.
But I think that's primarily because I don't think anybody on that ship was wearing a red shirt, because if they were wearing red shirts, we all know how that used to end in Star Trek. Yeah, exactly.
Funny. Yeah, they were all wearing blue. It was blue origin, not red.
But no, it's going to be as safe an environment as it can be. And I've been to Las Vegas twice just for fun during the pandemic. Once when vaccinations weren't even really readily available yet, and then once afterward. And Vegas itself does an amazing job. Masks everywhere. Even the air circulation system in Las Vegas. If anybody's going to figure it out, it's Las Vegas. So that said, if someone's not ready to go yet, if you're not feeling it for any reason, we totally get it, and we respect that, and we want people to do what they're comfortable with. And that's why you can also participate virtually. Several of the conference programs that Sandy and her team have put together are available virtually, and through that SupplySide 365 app, you can connect with exhibitors and attendees virtually. So I think the people who choose to attend are going to have a wonderful experience, and those who don't can still participate in some ways. So, do what's right for you is what I would say to people. And if we see you there, we will welcome you back. We've missed you, and I think we're going to have a great show.
Yeah. Hey, so Sandy, John just brought you up. Let's talk about some of the things that are happening. I know that there's the first time exhibitors reception, and I don't even know if that's been a thing before because I'm like a 20-time exhibitor. But what's that about? Let's start right there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been just enjoying listening to you two talk, so, but also happy to jump in. Yeah, the first time visitor reception, it's been going on for several years now. I don't even remember how many, but at least 5. Seven. Lucky 7. So yeah, you were definitely not a first timer even 7 years ago, Todd. But we like to get everyone together who has been here for the first time. You're kind of getting the lay of the land. You don't know as many people as some of the old timers. And so we want to just show the industry how welcoming we are. And so it's an evening reception. It's on Tuesday, October 26th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Border Grill at Mandalay Bay. So it's a restaurant right in the same area where the expo hall is, same location. We also highlight rock stars who are not first timers, but people who have been in the industry, who want to help others in the industry. And we say, first timers, if you really want to learn about trends, market trends, talk to this person. Or if you really need help with your food and beverage formulation, here's a person you can talk to so you can make connections that way. It's a really, really fun event, even though I am not a first timer. I get to go sometimes, and it's really great. So if you're a first time attendee, you got to register, but come to this. It's a really great time.
That's cool. And to me, when I hear that, it just strikes me how at its core, I mean, yes, we all have relationships, personal relationships, business relationships that become personal relationships, but really so much of this is we're here to help build businesses, right? We're here to lift all boats. And so just like, oh, you're a first timer, and it's like, oh, we have something for you. We can help you out, even at an sort of informal, drinks and horse divers kind of reception here. I love that idea, I mean, because that's really what the whole show, what a convention is all about, like, let's do business. But it's really nice that it's not just like a serendipitous thing, like, oh yeah, you have to have a booth and maybe someone will come by and you can do business that way. But it's more than that, it's just lots of different ways that we help people be better, right?
It's a great way to welcome our first time attendees into the community, not just the show, but the community. Yeah. And it's the evening before the expo hall opens. So they get to walk away with a pocket full of business cards from people like the chief science officer from GNC, who's going to be there, the president of Carlson Labs, who's going to be there, Mark Blumenthal from American Botanical Council, and Kanta Schelke from Corvus Blue, and just an all-star cast of really cool industry people who are there at this event for the purpose of meeting first-time visitors, welcoming them to this industry and this community, and helping them have a great experience. So it's a fun place to be.
That's super cool. So we only got a couple minutes, but Sandy, why don't you just run through some of the other cool things? Like, I don't want to talk booths, and I don't want to talk gambling, and I don't want to talk seminars because we talked about that last week. But what else do we have out there that's happening at the show?
Okay, I'm going to get limber here because I want to make sure I can get as much in as I possibly can. So if you're not a first timer, but we're looking for something to do on that Tuesday night, October 26th, before the show, the Organic and Natural Health is holding an amazing event. They are fundraising for the Williams Franklin Foundation. And the Williams Franklin Foundation is a nonprofit that offers scholarships, mentoring, business development for students who are economically disadvantaged. And these are students who are at historically Black colleges and universities. Organic and Natural Health is an amazing trade organization within the industry. They've committed to raising $5,000 or $50,000 in 5 years. And so this is part of the goal. It's going to be super fun. It's at the Old Soul restaurant, which is it's a prohibition style restaurant. So go to that on Tuesday if you're not an exhibition or a first time attendee, or even if you are and you feel called to go there.
Nice.
Speaking of, I'm just going to keep going, Todd.
Yeah,
Speaking
well,
of,
we got about a minute left. So
speaking of one other reception I want to call out is the Naturally Proud Network is having a reception on Wednesday, the day after the first day of the Expo Hall. That's October 27th at 5:30 to 7:30. And the Naturally Proud Network is a nonprofit that unites LGBTQ+ natural product industry members and their allies. So anyone is invited to this event. It's a really joyful occasion where everyone just gets to be who they are and really show how welcoming our industry is. Do I have any more time, Todd? Or do I
you got about 15 seconds. Bullet points.
Okay. An educational opportunity. So after the Expo Hall closes on Friday, October 29th, all day event, 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. We've got the APA Congress on immune supplements. This is going to be an amazing event where we're looking at the science and regulation behind immune health, which is clearly the biggest category that we've seen in the past year and a half, 2 years because of the pandemic. That requires a separate registration. The American Herbal Products Association, you can go to their website and get more information. And I feel like the Micro Machine guy.
Yeah, right. Well, I think that's really cool because APA always has the Botanical Congress, and I like how they're just focused on immunity ingredients. There's lots of supply chain issues with elderberry and things like that. So cool stuff. You can always go to SupplySideWest.com and find out more information there. And, just go to Vegas and jump in the deep end of the pool. Oh my God, it's going to be so much fun. So John, Sandy, thanks for joining us. Everyone else, see you at the show. And now, Charlie, let's roll this cool interview that we had at Natural Products Expo East. I talked with Steve Hoffman from Compass Natural, and we kind of went a couple different cool directions. I remember we talked about regenerative ag, which is really cool, just knowing how climate solutions are in our business. So roll them.
Hi, everybody. Todd Runstead here. Welcome to another edition of the Toddcast. I am here at Natural Products Expo East. Steve Hoffman of Compass Natural Marketing and just a major domo veteran of the natural products industry. Steve, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me on your Toddcast.
Right? Yeah.
Made me smile with that one. It is punny.
Yeah, right? So it's interesting. Like a lot of times I'll invite a guest and maybe they have a book and I'll read the book or something like that. But with you here, Steve, I did nothing in advance. And you asked me what I wanted to talk about and I specifically didn't answer because I know you're so on it that we could just talk about anything under the sun. So,
well, thanks for saying so. I'll do my best.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I think that we've gone through a year and a half of a lot of turmoil in the industry and out there in the country and trying to keep food on people's shelves. Frankly, I'm proud to be a part of the natural foods industry, which did keep food on the shelves through a really rough time.
Right, and toilet paper.
And toilet paper, as well as they could. When I started seeing this stuff happening, we started tracking it and writing some stories that got published on the New Hope's Idea Exchange, just realizing that actually our industry was on the front line of this entire pandemic, really trying to take care of people, trying to take care of their health. And what I'm winding up to is here now at Natural Products Expo East. It's the first major trade show for our industry out of the gate. You've pared it down to be safe, but the energy here is high energy. It's really fantastic to see people. And it's funny, I will just say it, everybody's expectations are so low. My quote of the trend of the show is everybody's saying, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And I am too. And I think it's really great because, sitting in our home offices and Zooming, we have been able to do business, but there's nothing like sitting down and talking to a colleague. Yeah.
I can't do this over Zoom.
Exactly. And as much as I sit at my desk at home, coming to the Southern Hemp Expo, which I help produce, honestly, I've been able to do some business as an agency. You know, it's important to get out there in the world. So, you know, I'm grateful. I'm a big supporter. You know, I'm a big fan of New Hope Network as an alumnus.
That's right.
Honestly, I'm a complete advocate, and I'm glad to see some of my client companies here.
Yeah. So what are some of your client companies doing? I know you're in the hemp game. Who isn't? What else is out there that's really interesting?
Well, you know, it's interesting because I think we were talking a little bit about trends, and one of the brands that I represent here with some public relations work is BLK. They're a functional water.
Right.
So just the
is that like
functional
charcoal
water
water?
trend.
Is that what that is?
Well,
or
it's
is it
actually
just
fulvic minerals, Fulvic. So
Right.
mined deep within the earth, but you know, it's almost like humic acid. So, you know, that which creates living soil also is reported to help the body absorb nutrients and better hydrate the body. But again, I'm seeing it as a trend of other functional waters that I see. I think they've just done a really good job branding. We've seen a lot of interest at Expo East with buyers here in the East. So again, very pleasantly surprised at how busy our booth has been trafficked over that time.
Yeah, isn't the functional beverages category is so innovative? You know, there's really never a dull moment there, and it's a great format to introduce different concepts, whether it's exotic ingredients or, you know, like the old vitamin water is so ho-hum. Even like the old Odwalla is ho-hum because there's so much sugar in it that people are like, oh, thanks for the 6 strawberries and the 2 slices of pineapple,
and I think Odwalla
but there's 56 grams
is
of
no
sugar.
More.
Yeah.
Right? Coca-Cola, I think, ended
the
brand, or did someone just buy it? Maybe someone just bought it to resuscitate it. I remember.
I don't know, but
Greg,
you got to they got to do something with about 50 of those grams of sugar.
Yeah, the sugar is definitely an issue, and I think that's another trend. I was actually just speaking with a gentleman at Now Foods, the food division of Now Foods, and they're selling a lot of monk fruit and stevia. And they're doing it organically, which is interesting. So I think sugar is definitely a trend. The functional water really, you know, the lemonade that comes out of the lemons of the pandemic is the thing the natural products industry has been talking about, the relationship between diet and health.
Right.
When you have a country that's preconditioned is, I think, overfed and undernourished, you know, we were kind of ripe for the disease to rip through our population. Yet I think, you know, I don't have facts on this, but I think there are some trends and there are facts out there that show that, you know, if you took better care of yourself, you might have gotten through the pandemic better. And certainly dietary supplement sales have picked up as a result of this. And now it's really people just wanting different delivery systems to stay healthy or to have some kind of function. Another trend I'm seeing here is nootropics. And mushrooms are a part of that. So hacking cognitive health and performance.
Biohacking,
So, you know, the dietary supplements industry, I think, is incredibly innovative, and it's not just about vitamin C, even though that's still essential.
And it's not even about pills, as you said. I think 2019 was the first year that non-pill formats overtook pills in dietary supplement
and
sales.
Probably in beverage format. I mean, who heard of ashwagandha until you started drinking Rebel or
That's my favorite
else.
one.
I know,
they use the KSM 66 ashwagandha.
Oh, and that's an ingredient supplier?
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, that's good. Whenever I can get a hold of that on Rebel, like whenever I'm in a store and they have Rebel, I'm like, oh, it's the ashwagandha here. I like that. That's good stuff.
And I would like to see, well, I'm a core organic consumer. So when I see ingredients that are vegetable or fruit derived, you know, I only continue to advocate for certified organic. Because that's actually where, you know, kind of the dirty dozen, it's in fruits and vegetables. So if you're going to concentrate it down, you may also be concentrating perhaps some unwanted thing.
Right.
So I'd love to see again the growth of more availability of certified organic.
So let's talk about organic. Because I have two thoughts on that. One is hemp, and like, wouldn't it be great for hemp to fulfill the promise of the next great American commodity crop, you know, alongside GMO corn, GMO soybeans, you know, and like wheat, cotton, you know, which are not organic. But boy, what if we could get that off the ground as organic? And then there's this organic 2.0, as I like to call it, which is regenerative ag.
Right.
That seems to be really catching on. Almost like it's interesting how like there are these different things that are leapfrogging organic, like non-GMO has sort of leapfrogged organic. And organic, I mean, is it still just sort of puttering along at 5% of sales? Like not in Boulder, like Boulder, it seems like it's 50%.
Well, you know, it depends what statistics you're looking at. I mean, it's still growing. I think it grew like 8% or 12% last year.
Yeah.
Certain categories are growing really much higher.
Yeah.
The issue there is, I think the non-GMO project and that blue butterfly has been so successful, but it does not mean it's organic.
Right.
You know that. It
Right.
means it's been produced with pesticides.
I mean, people think the opposite of like what's non-GMO versus what's organic, or no, what they flip is the definition of organic versus natural.
Well, organic is, and the Organic Trade Association says it's the original non-GMO.
Right,
But it's also produced without pesticides, synthetic pesticides, or synthetic fertilizers. Oftentimes, fertilizers are derived from fracking, so you're getting like a double environmental hit with some of that. Now, back to hemp.
We're so efficient like that.
Yeah, I know. Factory farming, baby, cut those costs, but it is at a longer term expense of generations ahead of us with the environment, with the soil, the way we were eroding our topsoil. So, I mean, we need to think that 7 generations ahead. And I mean, I'm a practical guy, but I actually believe there's value in preserving the environment and rebuilding the soil. And that is what regenerative is about.
Right.
And in the hemp industry, you have similar interest pressures as anywhere else. So there are those that want to commodify it. There are those that want to gene edit it. There are those that want to grow it with pesticides, and yet there is a growing movement led by Rodale Institute doing some research on hemp and regenerative hemp. And interestingly, northeastern hemp farms like Pocono Organics, which is the first regenerative organic certified hemp farm in the United States this past year. And then Hudson Hemp is a New York farm. The future is regenerative is their motto. Sustainable is great, but the future is regenerative is kind of their motto.
And so organic has a definition, natural doesn't. Does regenerative?
Well, regenerative organic certified, administered by Rodale with a seal, does have standards.
It does. So like what? Like do you know? Like what's an example?
I think and I don't know the exact standards, so I'm not going to speak beyond what I do know about it, but it's more of a focus on, I mean, in organic farming and certified organic farming, USDA farming, you do have to pay attention to the soil, but it becomes a real focus in regenerative organic. What are you doing to rebuild and sequester carbon? How are you working your cover crops? So there's a more intensive management in it, and yet, you know, and I think regenerative without the organic actually has crossover appeal to mainstream conventional farmers, because really it's about soil conservation. And farmers like Gabe Brown in Minnesota, who he doesn't say he's organic. What he says is, I've been able to rebuild my soil using cover crops and deep roots to the point where I don't need pesticides. It's a different way of saying.
That's a story, right?
Right, and he says, I'll open my books and show you how I've lowered my input costs. When you lower costs, you make more profit.
Right.
So that, I think, it's the Gabe Browns of the world that are going to appeal to, because we need to change all of our agriculture. Agriculture is a major contributor to climate change.
Right.
And we need to change it.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising, I think, to people to hear that. You know,
well, we mostly think of emissions, oil and gas, but we don't think about the output of our food system.
Right.
you know, from the factory farms, because it's not the cow, it's the how, right? You put them on hard pack, you put them on cement and feedlots, all their methane goes out. But if you put them in pasture, there's methanotropic bacteria in the grass. It's a synergistic biological ecosystem. They eat the methane, it never goes out. I call it the myth of cow farts. And it's actually their burps.
Is that right?
Yeah, so they're burping into the grass, the bacteria eat the methane, no methane out. Now put them in a feedlot, no grass, no methanotropic bacteria. You've taken out the circular ecosystem that helps protect and modulate our environment.
Right. And so, yeah, it's sort of like how clean energy, like solar and wind, is really kind of making a run for it because of the economic story. You know, it's like it's now cheaper to build from scratch a solar farm than it is to operate an already existing coal plant, because you still have to buy the coal every day,
Right.
and you still got to load it in every day. So it's like, oh wow, like that's the economic story. Now you're gonna have a change. And so to hear about the regenerative story, where it's like, yeah, you regenerate the soil, you use less or fewer inputs, and you know, hey, you're probably going to be healthier, Mr. Farmer, but you're going to save money.
And there's big news out there, like I think Nestle just said it's committing a couple billion to regenerative.
Right.
General Mills has done that. So we have to have the big multinational corporations adopt regenerative agriculture on a large scale to sequester carbon, but also I feel regenerative organic certified creates an opportunity for small farmers to make a living that's not there. Less and less, it's an opportunity in the conventional marketplace.
Right.
So, you know, our small family farms in America are under a lot of pressure, and anything that we can do to help, and I think organic and regenerative has really helped small farms, where conventional, it's all about scale and it's all about cutting costs, and yet I think those costs are borne by society and the environment more over the long term.
Right. And we haven't figured out how to put a price on that damage that's done.
Yeah.
You know,
kind of that carbon tax.
Right.
You know, or even just carbon accountability. I think we will see, and we may already be seeing, responsible corporations that do understand this actually start reporting about their carbon sequestration.
Which is a big step, like just in the idea of just reporting it, that's like information is power. So Steve Hoffman, great conversation today. We kind of worked our way into this regenerative conversation, which is a great conversation to have. You know, we have climate sessions here at Expo to kind of introduce people and like there is a climate solution in the food production system.
There is.
That's,
you know, and you do such great work over at New Hope Network, and all your coverage of CBD and hemp market and the ingredients market, and so people can learn a lot from you. And if they want to learn a little more about the hemp market, the industrial hemp business, check out letstalkhemp.com. I'm the editor of that trade newsletter.
excellent.
And you'll learn a lot about the business of hemp and where there are opportunities. We're hoping it expands. Where CBD's been kind of the sexy thing, and it's brought a lot of attention to it. The long-term play, we think, is fiber, fashion, clothing, building, construction, all the different ways that hemp can be a renewable resource. Paper, all the things that we're using non-renewable resources right now for.
Cool.
So,
all right, that's a story from here at Expo East. Thanks,
Todd,
Steve.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Really appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.